Hello and welcome to Julie Hall Designs. Today I'm going to show you how to create this magnificent metal framed Diva wallet totally in your embroidery machine. So some of the details that you might notice with this project is we have a beautiful quilted front, and there are 3 different quilting styles that you can choose to use. The metal Diva frame is a frame that we sell and you can purchase. It has a zipper compartment for your coins. It has room to store your phone as well as your cash, and 8 separate credit card compartments. It is fully lined. There is no external seams showing or that need finishing. So let's take a look at our requirements. So the Diva frame, and I have these fabulous frames in both silver and gunmetal, and today I'm going to use the gunmetal version. You have screws with that, which we'll get to at the end. I'm going to embellish my wallet with this lovely handmade tag. That's not a necessity, it's just something that I enjoy putting on mine. We've got a 22 centimeter zip, and that's just a number 3 zip, nice and slim. And I've got 3 different colors of fabric. You can use as many or as few fabrics as you wish. Actually, I've got 4 because I'm going to use cork as my outer. For my outer and my inner or backing pieces, card backing, I am going to, I've attached a very heavyweight stabilizer, interfacing to that, just to give it extra support without adding extra bulk. And you can see here I've got a mix of black, white and pink fabrics that I'm going to use to create my wallet. Now the wallet is all finished in 3 hoopings. So one of those will be the card section, one will be the zipper section, and then there'll be the final putting it all together. Okay, let's get started. So the first part we're going to work on is the card section. And the card section is this section here, where you can see we have space for all of our different credit cards. So the first thing I'm going to do is stitch out colorway 1, which is going to show us where to place our backing fabrics. And let's just and you are looking for the fabric that is called your card pocket back fabric. It is 21 by 24 centimeters, and I'm going to use this lovely pink spot. I've threaded my machine with water-soluble thread because it is the perfect thread to allow us to do all of our placements but not leave any residue. Now you want to make sure that your fabric is centered over that outline, and then stitch colorway 2, which is going to secure that thread. And I just like to smooth as I go. All of my fabrics have, of course, been pressed and lightly starched. I'm using 100% cotton fabrics for 2 reasons. A, because it's what I've got around, and 2, because I like the way they work. colorway 3 is actually going to show us where to place the first of our pockets. So we're going to stitch that in the wash away thread. Then, and I'm going to come through and change my threads, and I do spend a little bit more time than I would like changing threads in this project. I'm going to take my pocket pieces and decide where I want each one to go. What do you reckon? I think we'll go with that. The only thing is, maybe I'll swap that one. So I take my first pocket piece that has been folded and pressed. I lay it on top of that line, and then we stitch colorway 4, which is going to hold that pocket down. Changing back to the water-soluble thread. Colorway 5 is going to show us where to place the next pocket. Don't worry that you're stitching this down, because remember, it's water soluble. It is all going to come out. And back to sewing thread. And I'm stitching all of my stitches with black 100% cotton. And I'll come through and stitch colorway 6. And hold down this pocket. And back to the wash away. Sewing thread, for colorway number 8. I'm loving how this pink and black are just going so well together. Okay, and last time with the wash away. using wash away thread, make sure you do keep it out of the way of any moisture. I recommend keeping it with desiccants just to make sure, like you get in your pills, just to make sure that it stays as stable as possible. And that is our final pocket. The last stitch is going to come along and stitch up the back with a triple stitch, making each pocket a double. So this is our pocket design now finished. I am going to remove this from the hoop and put it on my workbench, and I'll show you what we do with this one after we've finished the next block. So the next section that we are going to work on is the zippered pouch part of our wallet, and what that comprises of is a section that is fully enclosed to hold all of our coins. It's also large enough to put our phone or your cash. So let's get started. This section has 9 colorways. So the first colorway is going to show the outline of the project piece and where we are going to place our zipper. And again, I'm just stitching with 100% cotton thread. So the next thing I'm going to do is take my zipper and lay it over the outline that I've got. Colorway 2 is going to stitch that zipper down along that top line. And colorway 3 is going to stitch it along the bottom. Now, I always try and move my zip into the middle of the design here so that I don't forget to do that later. The other thing that I like to do when I get a chance is I don't want, and I should have used a smaller zip. I should have cut my zip a little bit shorter, because what I don't want is this zip, and I'm just going to twist this around so that you can see better. I don't want this zip going into my final seams. So I am going to come through and just trim that away there and back along here. And of course the other way to do that is to just lay your zip a little bit shorter to start with. And that will stop my seam, my zip from being in those final seams. So colorway 4 is going to stitch a block to show exactly where that zipper tab needs to sit. Our zipper tabs are our 2 smaller rectangles of fabric, and that is going to sit over that zipper area and secure the ends of the zip. I know it's compulsive, but I've got to cut that as I see it. Now, when I do this one, I just like to hold the zip down to make sure it doesn't bunch up here. And that's just because my zipper was open on that end. And colorway 7. Okay, so as you can see, this is an incredibly quick piece. The next thing, I'm going to get the larger piece of my zipper fabric, of my zipper pouch fabric, lay it across the top there, making sure that up the back, up here, I've covered that outline, and then come through and stitch colorway 8 to secure. And we do a gorgeous little triple stitch on that, just to make sure that it's firmly in place. Our last piece of fabric gets laid over the bottom of that area, making sure you're covering that zipper tack down line that you did before, because that's where we will be stitching. And I'm loving this. I think this has got a bit of retro chic look to it. And that is our zipper pouch completed. So let's come over to the workbench and see what we've got to do next. So here is our card wallet, and if you remember, we've used water-soluble thread all the way along here, so you actually cannot open any of these card slots. What I've done is I've just got a little squeeze jar with some water, and if I come along and run just a little line of water along where we've used the water-soluble thread, what we are going to be able to do is come through and on the backs of our projects we will be able to simply pull that backing thread up, and what you can see is that then allows you to open up right through for placement on each of your card slots. So you just come through one by one and open those up. Once we've done that, you want to fold so that those edges meet and press with a hot iron. And now that, you can see there I'm getting all my threads. So now our card section is ready to rock and roll. For our zippered section, all I'm going to do is fold those fabrics together and then come along with my hot iron and press that seam in, and that's ready to go. So now we have, and when we put it all together, we're going to have our backing fabric, we're going to have our zippered section, we're going to have our card pockets, and then we're going to have the front of our wallet. Okay, let's see how this all comes together. Okay, so I've got a fresh piece of stabilizer in my machine, and what I'm going to do is come through, and I have the wallet front quilting design loaded. First thing I'm going to do is stitch the outline, which is going to show where we are going to place our front fabric. Now the front fabric that I have chosen is the cork fabric. On the sample that I've got here, I've done a beautiful soft swirly quilting. On this design, I'm actually going to use the cross hatches because I think it will go well with the cork, and it'll do well to hold down that stiffening interfacing. So we come through and we lay our fabric and interfacing on top of that, and then we're going to stitch colorway 2 to hold that down. Once again, just smoothing as you go, but always making sure when you smooth not to pull the hoop or dislodge the hoop from its movement. And now colorway 3 is going to do the cross hatch stitching. I've chosen to do it in this gold corkish coloured thread because I want it to be subtle. I don't want it to overtake. Obviously, whatever colour you want to use is absolutely fine. So I'm going to rethread my 100% cotton Gutermann thread. Now, the reason I like to construct using this thread is just because it's going to hold together better than an embroidery thread is, because it's what it's made for. And we now have colorway 4, which is going to show us the actual outline size of the wallet finished. So now comes the time, and excuse me while I just move my hoop into the center here so that I can show you exactly what it is I'm doing. I'm going to take my wallet piece, and you can see I've attached my little handmade sign to that, just because I think it's quite cute. And at each point, so we're just going to come down and place that piece on. And then we've got our credit card piece. Now, the credit card piece, I like to line up with the middle of the hoop there. Just trying to make sure that it all comes out as equal. And I'm just checking to see. Okay, so once you've got those two pieces laid down, our last piece is our wallet back, which we are going to lay over the top. And now you want to be holding this just really gently, and then stitch colorway 5. And the only thing I'm doing holding it is just making sure it doesn't move. And then colorway 6. That is all the stitching on our project. Let's come and look at how we finish it all off together. And what I've now got is my finished design. What I need to do is get rid of a whole lot of this bulk. Okay, so I'm going to trim back to, say, maybe 1/4 inch, and you can see here there is 1/4 inch come through from where we've done our quilting. I'm going to come and trim back to that, and I'm doing that on each side. And you want your iron ready and set for pressing. Now, I'm going to open up that project, and I'm going to come through, and it's difficult because of all of the interfacing that we've got here, But what we are going to do is turn this inside out. And remember, we are going to press it afterwards, so don't stress too much about ruining it. And there we go, it's the major part. And I can see here that I've just done that slightly wrong, so I've got to tuck this bit back over there. That's better. Okay. So, now we come to the point where we start getting our iron out and we start making everything look pretty. Now, for me, the easiest way to do that is to actually just take it off center there and iron that seam flat, as flat as possible, and then come over this side and iron this seam as flat as possible before turning it over and ironing again. And a little bit of time and effort now will really pay off in giving you a really nice finish. When I am ironing my cork, you want the iron on fairly low, or you want to use an applique or heat mat, just to make sure that you don't overly exert and hurt that cork fabric. And I'm just going to continue pressing this until I've got it looking basically as nice as I want it to. Okay, so that is my wallet now pressed, and we are ready to start looking at our Diva frame. So our Diva frame here comprises of two sections. You've got the back piece with the clip on it and the front piece that it clips in to it. First thing that I'm going to do is come through and again trim this top layer to about a scant 1/4 of an inch across both the top and bottom. Now, if you wanted to, you could use a rotary cutter for this, but it needs to all be straight simply because this is what is going to have all of our, and for instance, I need to actually come through and take it from this side, because this is what all of our fabric is going to sit into. Now, we need to work out which way we want our wallet to go. So, when you open your wallet, do you want it to open that way, or do you want it to open that way? Now, look, at the end of the day, it doesn't make that much of a difference. It's really just a case of where we do our trimming. So I am going to come along this edge, and the main reason that I like using this edge is because I already have my center point marked. And what I need to do, and I'm just going to use a pen to do it, if I can work out where I've put my pen, is I need to come through and mark up where we are going to cut out for that frame. Sorry, this is actually quite a difficult cut to do on camera, and I'm going to go through it layer by layer. And you do get the opportunity to continually trial and make sure that it's the right size, or if it needs to be bigger or smaller, or anything like that. Okay. The other trick to remember is that these screws always go on the inside. Now, obviously, our edges are thicker than the rest of it. So I'm going to come through and I'm actually going to trim that 1/4 inch seam down a little bit more just at those ends, because we have so many layers of fabric. And then we're checking for our placement holes, and we are going to use the stabby thing to make sure that everything goes in there nicely. And you do need to do that from both sides, because what you can see here is that while I got one side in, the other side not so much. Okay, so hole-wise, that is in the perfect position. Now, as stupid as this sounds, what I am now going to do, now that I've set that hole and we know that it's in the right spot, we are going to pull this off and we are going to lay a line of glue down that channel. And it's the glue and the screws working together that hold the entire project together over time. Okay, so I've got my glue there. Now you might want to have a tissue or a scrap of fabric around as you are doing this, just to help with the clean up. So again, it's always easier second, third, fifth time around. Maybe, maybe not. So we've got that end. Then we can start okay. And now that I've got that all there, I come through and I take my teeny tiny screwdriver. And for me, my teeny tiny screwdriver is my glasses screwdriver. And using the bolts that came with my wallet, you screw those bolts in, which screws through all of the layers of the fabric and helps to secure the glue. So that is side one done. And as you come along, you're just going to want to clean up and make sure that no glue is showing. Naturally, if there is any glue, you can just take it off with a little bit of glue remover. Now for the second side. And ta-da! Our wallet is completed. Loving the gunmetal with the cork. We open it up and we have our beautiful coin purse. We have room for all of our cards. And we can even carry our phone in our wallet as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this project as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. As always, you can contact me at sales@JulieHallDesigns for any of the designs or hardware that we've used in today's class. And you can also join us for our weekly free embroidery classes at LockedInStitches.com. Locked In Stitches on Facebook. Until next time, have a stitching day. Bye.